So that's on this phone. But now it's at 1 minute and 3 seconds is recording video on the other phone. We're gonna stop this. 39%. Oh, excuse me. It was 39 a second ago. So 38% of the criminals draining the battery on this. Also nice delay there. They drained the entire battery from this phone. The temperature on the battery is very cold by now, which means there was minimal loss there. So nothing. So much so when I got here, the power bank, which should be warm, was completely the phone. I was pressing the button to see how much charge there was, and it was not blipping at all. Not even showing on the screen the amount of charge. That's full zero. No charge going in. Again, as I said, all those things happening after me mentioning, and none of this is hardware. Even if it is, it would have been a hardware, it would have been a recent thing. Also, I want to point out something that I was just noticing as I was distracted here. Oh, by the way, for comparison, this phone has been on the entire time. Still has 24% charge. I've been listening to music periodically, recording a lot in videos. I just backed up now. And notice this. This is a cut that they made to my nail. Likely one of those assaults in the middle of the night in front of cameras. I think it was the one in front there. I wouldn't notice that today. Very likely looks to me like there was the one in front. There is a puncture here. It is also something done in She country by She people. Being repeated here. We're gonna upload this. After that, there was a little shit show to the other side. I finished eating some bread for lunch. The entire fair lasted from 12:40. By the way, this is local press vehicle that I mentioned. She local press, local regional, local. Something important for you to take notice. As for this one is from not the largest one, is the other secondary one, but it's the one that you've been seeing surrounding this crime all the time. Yeah, you've seen the vehicle specifically. I noticed that I didn't see at all the other one, but this one I saw specifically something in the order of like double digits for sure. But we're talking about a few dozen times. No joke. Only one though. The other, again, this is just one of the local news services. The other ones, especially the one from the largest one in the country, is not just this one. So interesting because of that ratio. Continuing, super important for your colleague, for their colleagues. 37 now. It was more or less like this. So you notice how it started at 39, and then it went to 38, and then I was 37 in a grand total of 3 minutes. That is how it was discharging before on the recording that they destroyed, the temperature. Okay, that's the ratio it was discharging. And again, as I said, this is unprecedented. The film with battery is a natural occurrence. You see that stuck in that 1%. You see how several times, even up to now, they will lock up the phone at 1% as quickly as possible to cause the phone to not recording audio easily. I lost count how many times I had to do the trick of starting the audio recording, switch to video quickly enough to fix that, which just goes to show how many times there was two things happening at the same time, which was then doing this period, how often it happens, added to how often they were doing crimes while this was happening. As a matter of fact, how often they started doing crimes while this was happening. Because if you notice, at the end of the day, you'd have me starting the recording then, and I literally lost count how many times they started doing crimes only after the phone reached 1%. You notice how careful I am, how I try to keep everything charged and everything else. And today you're witnessing, oh, by the way, so just the official report on the power bank, 39%. Very nominally charged on this. So 39% plus the touching from before, if it even was touching, because it was touching, and then 10 minutes later it was 4. So I leave it up to you if you're touching or not. But nominally, if you're not, it's even worse, right? So 39 plus 13 would 54, right? 52, excuse me. So 52. 52 on this one from one ball, the entire period, from when you switch to one ball to 0, to no charger over the power bank, 52%. On the other one, it was 45 from when it was free to when it switched to 1, right? Was 45, and the other ones were even less. But I can testify it was even less than that. As I said, that didn't feel right. All of that is meticulously measured. As for the timings, as I said, it started at 12:20 when the phone drained of battery and I put it to charge. Left it charged from 12:20 to 12:40. 20 minutes. It took all that time to charge to 13%, which is already weird. From 13, it drained to 0. By the way, after that, let's analyze the screenshots. I knew that there was something. 36 now. With 4 minutes, 6. It's close enough. Again, this ratios is ridiculous. Not even resembling this was a thing. So I don't need to comment on that. But I'm just saying, it's not an on and off switch. The problem in the interference with the phone, it was unknown, it was there. What I'm saying is just that right now it is happening in an absurd ratio. Because right now they probably, for some retarded reason, which I'm not even bothered to try to guess at this point, they think that for this one it's okay to do it this much. They could have done this since early. There was no real change in that. And you're saying that that's done digitally, entirely digitally. Look that up in the file as to why it's the case. I don't know if it was because of the assault that the digital criminals right now, because again, up to prior to 12:20, none of this was happening. Right? I was playing video game. The phone lasted, I said it was 45, right? The phone lasted a 45% charge from yesterday until now. I've been playing the video game since 9-something until almost 11. Until 11-something as well. No, 9-something I woke up. I think it was from 10-something when I finished watching Judge Judy. All the way up to 11-something. Goes to 12. Up to 12:20. 2 hours. Right? Playing a video game with all the resources in the phone, right? And none of that was a thing. Only when they decided to start their crimes, which is something they do, and again, we see that several times, when they have the on and off switch. Hey, wanna pray on me? She's gonna pray on me. And then I'm gonna mention something to her as well, about her. But that's in a minute. So that is those crimes. Then they also start throwing irritation drugs in the air. This was full of very wet blood because they throw irritation drugs. The baby was also itching a lot. She started scratching, so she removed the cap to start bleeding again, as they do to me. So funny enough, remember all the things that I said that they do to me? You're witnessing that happening to her. Or they throw those things at times, and to the other cat. You see that they all have that at the same time. They start itching at the same time. So I love how they have explanations of this parasite that telepathically communicate with each other. So each is on her, each is on me, and each is on the other cat at the same time. Then it stops at the same time as well. It's the parasitic telepathy. And as I said, that things like this is why I don't bother to guess what the bullshit is. I'm just showcasing to you and saying this is artificial. This is done by a criminal now, not a virus, not a setup malware. This is done by a criminal hacking into the phone right now and causing those things as it's happening. Period. No ifs, no buts, no I think. That's what's happening. As far as and as I said, none is became possible now. It was possible since the point I received this phone. They, for some reason, I love how there's almost like the cherry on top of the cake that they have those pseudo justifications. I'm sure gonna have a lovely time driving into them. I'm just saying, that's not the point. The point is what they always did, okay? And I can tell you, some of those times they are wonderful. You see that one of those is the whole nationalistic thing, which is why we point out the MAGA heads here, that they don't like what they say about the country, so they do atrocities to me. So as I said, cherries on top. Have fun with their bullshit it is, but if for lack of someone saying, and I recommend you tell people with my own voice, that's bullshit, okay? Baloney. None of that is real. They always could do this to the phone. They periodically have done this to the phone. They're just doing that in a very specific fashion today. Plain and simple. And as I said, living proof is the sheer amount of times that I have to zap away to do the trick, the whole recording trick of open the video 35. I'm gonna try to take a screenshot now every time it changes. So open the video, change from realize that the video is not gonna have audio, because again the video only has audio when there is audio going in the background. So open the audio, start. Then it says the message of the not enough battery to keep the audio going. Go to the video and you get that, it says a message, have to go back to the audio, start again. See, this time you can switch the video quickly enough, and if you do it quickly enough, then your video has audio. Even if the audio recording stops after, it has to be on the mode. That's a virus. That was something that was put into the phone. I don't think that at any point requires them actively doing it. It happens all the time. All those other things, including the battery, as I said, I was playing a video game up to now. As a matter of fact, why tell you when I can show you? Again, plain and simple, right? Why tell you something when I can show you something? That is what I'm trying to show. So, and it's not even like 12. It was like an 8 p.m., right? It was early evening, if I remember right. It was early evening when it charged up to 45. Although, as I said, it jumped up. I don't know why it says 50 here. No clue about that. It jumped up from 30 something to 42. I didn't use all that much during the night. That is true. Don't even know what this is supposed to be about. Didn't also use much this. But I suppose those audio recording. No, the audio recording was from 3 to 5 something. I suppose it's encompassed here. Don't know. Well, either way, shows you. That was the audio recording going. It was interrupted about 7 something a.m. Not stopped at me, it was interrupted. You can actually see it here. Another, technically 35. It was 35 already. I don't know if it was 35 or 36. Also notice that it slowed down. In my opinion, it slowed down considerably. You saw how it went from 39 to 36, in 37, and then it starts to. Do take that in consideration as well. It's gonna speed up again. Again, just telepathy. Just saying. That's the one that was crushed as well. There's a recent one. That might be one that they killed it. No, it wasn't. Notice 11:20, 9:43. So this entire time I have audio recordings going. This is the one that started. No, it doesn't show. 2:35. Let's say from 2:35 down to show that. There's this one. Entire time. Okay, so a little bit of screen recording or videos. Yeah, I remember that. Don't know why it's in the background, to be honest, but you saw the usage very little. And then the plummeting, the absolute just crushing it. Less than 1%, 3%. The audio recording itself is in the background, but it's not used all that much. Camera 12% on 12 minutes. 40 minutes of the game, and that's because it goes from 10 to 12, right? And then all of a sudden there is no longer data, because about 12:20, from 12 to 12:20 it's at 34%. From 12 to 12:30 it stayed at 1%, about that. So you already have the problem happening there. Just fixed a flat amount of the illusory meaningless point, and it just stayed like that. And again, that's that game. It's a lot of resources that it pulls, and 40 minutes, right? Now, by then, Sammy doesn't actually say how. It does say how much it drained. I mean, it says how much it drained from what it had originally, I guess. So, okay. So yeah, that's a bit too much. It potentially was. I don't think it was. all that much. Maybe they started back then as well. I don't know. You saw that the times when this thing is on is the times when they keep. I think that's the point. So I downloaded this game, and it's not running now. It's not supposed to be. The phone was crashed several times. Apparently it is. Does it even have permission to run in the background? Or that's allowed by default. But I'm telling you, that might be the excuse. And again, this is why I don't bother with coming up with those things, because they matter so little. As I said before, it is just another excuse. It's nothing I hadn't seen before of them coming up with those things, and that's the point. Okay, that might be the excuse, and the excuse comes from because they seem they're having a little bit of joy in this thing, and they're trying to get me to uninstall it by trying to make this whole charade. And as I'm telling to you, none of that is real. Plain and simple. Okay? If there's one thing you're not interested in while installing something on a phone, if you would, is the phone should give this ridiculous level of signs that someone is interfering. But because they probably saw some videos on YouTube that viruses cause this, they think that they're in the clear. So as I'm saying to you, take that as proof of what they could always do. Take that as proof of what they are, and that they're interfering with the phone on this moment. What I can testify to you with no uncertain terms is all those things are possible from before. All those things were done from before. I don't have a clue why they cranked up to 11 as of now. Don't really care. Making that very clear to you that it's just another attempt to get thrown by the criminals to control me physically. Because what you're seeing is what they expect me to do is to do this to cause me to move somewhere, to do something. Because they presume that I'm going to charge the phone and I'm going to have no choice but to go charge the phone. Or they're there, or they're going to do atrocities to me. Like them. Saw the stock over there? That stock over there? That was parked, fully parked, until I looked at it, and as I look at it, it moved away. Criminals like them, for instance. Let me guess, it's going to the meeting spot for all the other criminals. Let's see. Or he's gonna listen to what I'm saying and go to the gas station instead. Because that's arguably even worse. You're in the doubt about if you need to the gas station or not. I mean, you might be in doubt now if you need to eat something. You sure as hell not in doubt if you need to fill up your tank. This is the last gas station in the city, by the way. After that is highway all the way into the other city we're talking about. So, again, criminals like them going to the meeting spot there. So 33. And as I pointed to you, that's the ratios. Oh, but if you want to see something funny? Yeah, I play this game at night as well. Also interesting ratio there. That's why I don't trust much of this. None of the percentages, none of those things are accurate as to where this goes. Okay, the interferences are pretty thorough. For you to have an idea, this is the app that would simply not open. Even on Hackboy, I think at this point it doesn't open. I might show that to you another day. Because one of those days at night they destroyed the screen on their phone yet again. So do take notice of that. Also, just want to point out to you that when it starts going to count now again, you're just going to give up on measuring the battery. Again, take that in full consideration as well. Like e-charge, right? Charge from one something to now, it's already 12 to 2 forward. When it's gonna go back a measurement, the battery usage, I'm just gonna give up on that now. And you see that on Saturday it just has those. As I said, none of this is new. This is from day one, okay? And most importantly, as I mentioned recently when I say about the clicking on the audio thing, which I can tell you that is a virus, that is something installed on the phone because it happens all the time. This doesn't. As sometimes, as I said up to now, I was not even complaining all that much about the battery. Yes, we have been weird because that's what is the trending thing for the war criminals now. But it's going to disappear. Remember like the other one that they were doing digitally for the previous trend that just disappeared entirely? That's a common thing. They do that back home as well. My computer, there'll be trending points when they give interference with my computer every day, so the computer will be virtually unusable. They crash the computer every time that I was playing a game or doing something just to torment me, no real reason. And then that would stop. entirely. The program would be struggling to run games from the 90s, would run late releases, back to be running that with no issues, everything fine, and then it would stop. It would drive me actually crazy because I would try to draw some logic. Obviously, no, any of this was happening. In my view, it was a quite simple fact of this is something that is happening that I'm not figuring out what the problem is. I'm gonna figure it out, right? There's a component to replace, and one of the things that they were doing is overheating the computer, but then only at those times, and then it wouldn't happen anymore. As I said, it was completely erratic, and yet very sensible if you stop and think about one of the things that I even then start to notice. And again, by then I did not know what was happening. By then I just had a glance at this. But what they were doing is that they were picking up specifically motivated moments. So to cause this. So be in a video game, after struggling on a phase to save moments that they think they can get away. Kind of like now, right? Because as I said, instead of thinking that, so they think that now they have a free pass for this, even though again, compared to they just installed on the phone for free for a day. Right? I don't know if it says. It's been a long time, so much so yesterday I was installing a new one, which didn't run, by the way. 32. So, and I posted that very clear to you. Fortunately, also a bunch of YouTube videos of recently showcasing a bunch of other things that they're doing physically here, so you can see the correlation as well. Although to be fair, as I pointed out for the criminals as well, which is 139, at this stage, if they don't do anything, it's going to be more suspicious than if they do. Because as you see, it's such a regular thing. This is this walkaround, by the way. And they think they're going to nitpick on things that I say and say that I don't know what I'm saying, or that I'm going to be paranoid, or say there's a couple connections and they don't exist. Because of something that they do with such regularity that it's noticeable when they don't do them more than when they do. So take good notice on this one, okay? Also, you see the circuses, and those things are actually coming back home as well, which is those narratives. Like for instance, right now, one of the possibilities of this could be that they want me to go to either the bakery, if it's still open, I don't know if it is, or to the very place that is, you see, potentially this is coming from, to charge the phone. Then I'll have that with a catch, and then it'll be something. It'll be a little theater where there's gonna be a narrative being developed. Either something about the catch, or something about me, dehumanization to me, or something else, which they already know as of this point. They probably set that up yesterday or even a couple of days ago. And we're going to developing that as of now. You see very clearly, as a matter of fact, when they do those radical changes on the spot, as I mentioned before, when Chip's mom and the weather didn't quite collaborate with the war criminals because perhaps God doesn't love them as much as they think He does. And sorry, kind of rephrasing it with that. Not type of guy that claims that Lord does love and dislove, but 32% now. But one thing I can tell you is don't think the Lord God is much on the side of the war criminals, although we look like that in all the times in the past century, several times in the past century. So you should like that until he stops looking like that, I guess. Either way, so the weather didn't quite collaborate, so they were in an issue because they couldn't keep up with the timetable. Same thing as of something like this, right? So the idea is when they arrive there, you're gonna see there's always a routine that is already set up in advance. There were a couple times when there wasn't, and those times are the times when I do something and it was unexpected, as I just said. For instance, the first time I went to that place, and you saw how quiet it was at first. There was a couple weirdos in front, and that's because it took a long time, a lot of effort for me to get there. Again, Chip had his mom, she had her mom, she could stay here, I could go by myself, and you saw the connections there. And for those things, pay attention. Because it was fine enough until weird things started to happen and they should feel something on me. But then you saw the guy chasing me on the way out, and all the other things, and the things in the bathroom. And those started developing, especially in the second part. You saw that I entered that to ask to change clothes, and there was something shooting me on the way out. Again, you can clearly see how the early part did not know what I was doing, didn't have anything to prepare for, and in the later part. And how do they do that? Brutality, conditioning, war crimes, drugs, by and large. We're touching the sense of what you see in the buses, right? You see that a lot of that in the bus company crimes. That's what I mean, trying to stop me from entering the bus and do other crimes of this sort. As I'm loaded with stuff, so I'll be exposed to things outside. Then kick the drug crimes as well. Very straightforward. Drug crimes at night, drug crimes here. This entire time that I've been here, I've been sedated inside the place. The entire time. Back to show. Tons of things that I have to do are not digital. They're actually very important. They're just not digital. Organizing the files, see what cards I have, what they are, organizing all the sort. Great plan for the 31. And you let it tap on. Again, this entire video recording has been 25 minutes.